Good evening, everybody. How are we all doing? Welcome to the shebeen. You're joined by myself and the three-time Communicator of the Year winner, Barry Chandler. So I think we should all start off by giving Barry a big round of applause in the comments. If you haven't already congratulated him, of course. Congrats, Barry. Well deserved.
Listen, there's going to be some changes around here now.
Putting your foot down, three-time winner.
Thank you very much.
Very well.
I have been punished most of my life for speaking out of turn and for being too loud in class and for distracting people and for trying to make people laugh. It just goes to show if you do enough of those bad things for long enough, eventually you'll win an award. So there's a moral there in the story somehow.
Tell your kids, educate your kids.
Tell your kids, just no matter how badly they're doing in school, don't worry. Eventually somebody somewhere in their desperation will give them an award for something.
Unbelievable. Good evening, everyone. I'm seeing loads of familiar faces in the comments, which is great. We've got Lloyd, we have Johnny, we have Rich, Dee's joining us as well, Kevin, Greg, all our usual supportive suspects in the comments, which is great. Johnny's just poured his first sip there, Barry, of W.D. O'Connell Amontillado cask.
Johnny, I'm going to join you. I pulled a glass off the shelf there to try it. We will be having an official tasting with our club whiskeys in early December. I'm going to share a date, but I do feel it's time to christen our lovely party glass. So
this is going to be quite the sight to witness.
There we go. That should do it.
Just the one tonight, yeah. Just
the one for me now, Lauren. You know me, I don't like to go overboard at any time. So just the drop of W.D. O'Connell Amontillado.
Let's watch Barry have a well-earned sip of this while he tries not to drown himself in a drop of whiskey due to the size of the glass. Slant. Brilliant.
Lovely.
Size of your head.
Wow. Lovely, lovely, lovely. This will be my glass for the night, and I think it's only fitting, seeing as it's a Christmas season, holiday season, time for us to celebrate. We're going to talk about all things Irish whiskey related to the holiday season tonight. All the Irish whiskies you need on hand, every scenario covered. If we haven't it covered, you're going to tell us which scenario you want covered, and we'll find the Irish whiskey to go with it, right?
I have had way too much fun this evening putting this together, because I think like Christmas is obviously a lovely time of year, but at the same time there's a lot of frustrations go hand in hand with it, and drawing on a few personal experiences has been quite funny to think of. And some of the examples, at least one of my examples anyway, is a very typically Irish example, but I look forward to hearing more examples in the comments from all of you as to some of your Christmas woes.
I suppose the holiday season is a time for letting your hair down a little bit, relaxing if you can, if you've got time off work, but it can be a stressful time as well. Ever more stressful every year, maybe, as kids get older and there's more to do, and or families live in different places and you have to travel. There's a lot of pressure to get Christmas right. So it feels like there should be at least one, if not 2 dozen Irish whiskies on hand at any point during the holiday season to make sure that you're covered. Now, we're going to preface this by saying this is not an advertisement for drinking heavily and for overindulging, but rather just, as the Greeks might say, with a drop of wine that gives them their long life. It's just a little drop of medicine, just a spoonful of medicine every day, and it gives them their long life. This is not medical advice either. I'm not a doctor, but I'll have a look. But yeah, that's our focus tonight. Irish whiskies for Christmas, Irish whiskies for the holiday season. Thanksgiving is behind us. America is in full thrust towards Christmas, and Ireland isn't far behind it, I don't think, either. What do you think?
No, we're definitely getting there. So basically tonight, what Barry's trying to say in between the lines is we're going to be Grinches for the evening, just to complete. I cannot take you seriously when you're drinking from that massive Glencairn. You've stuck to it now. You've started it now. You have to continue.
I can't pour it back in the bottle.
You need a pretty big funnel to help you with that one.
So, tell me this, Lauren. What's in your glass tonight?
Just taking my first sip. So in my glass tonight, I've got two lined up for tonight, but what I'm drinking at the minute is the Killowen Rum and Raisin, which is such
Lovely.
a beautiful whiskey. Going back to it, I haven't had a drop of it in a while. It's just gorgeous. And then second whiskey, if I get onto it, because I poured a fair measure in here for the first drop, I have a Waterford Cuvée lined up next.
Lovely.
Just felt like it tonight. So that's my two. I think you'll be a while on your Amontillado there.
Yeah, this one, I'd say there's eating and drinking in this one. There's about 3 or 4 hours worth of a drink in this one. But if I do progress onto that, I'll go back to what I was sipping on earlier, which is a drop of, look, it feels like a little, like a toy glass now in my hand. A drop of the Cliffs of Moher pot still Oloroso, 5 or 6 year old pot still Oloroso Cliffs of Moher here is what I'm also sipping on. I also have a drop of Connemara 12-year-old, which I may not get to, but if I do, we'll declare it and we'll talk about it. Great to see all the different whiskies everyone's enjoying around the world tonight. Let us know what's in your glass at all times. Tony wants to know, is this a 6-liter glass? Tony, it's a great question, and we haven't measured it yet, but I'm going to do it this weekend. No, this week I will. I'll figure it out using water, not whiskey. I'll figure out what the capacity is of this lovely little glass. Yeah.
Yeah, you'll see what size it is in liters, and then subsequent how many bottles of whiskey it would take to fill that. Are you even getting a sip from that?
Yeah. It's Amontillado, lovely, nutty, dark, rich fruits, so almondy. Oh, anyway, we're going to be doing a club tasting with WD O'Connell in the first week of December. I'm going to share the dates with you guys in the next couple of days, so stay tuned. Which brings us to, I suppose, the first slides of the night. Lauren, what do you think?
I think so. So any new Irish whiskies of the week
to report on? We will refer you yet again to irishwhiskeywatch.com, folks, for all the new Irish whiskies. There are a few going to be added there tomorrow, so pay attention to that. It's a free website where you can add your email address and get notified of any new Irish whiskey releases as they happen. There's a couple being revealed or were announced over the weekend. We'll put them in there tomorrow. And that's where you get all of our updated Irish whiskies that we'll talk about. If there's something particularly interesting that's not a whiskey release, we'll add it to that site as well. For example, a new distillery or a new master blender, for example. That's a bit of news, I suppose, this week. New master blender at Middleton Distillery, which is Dave McCabe, who's taking over from Billy Lighton. Billy Lighton moves into the role of master blender emeritus, just like Barry Crockett moved into the role of master distiller emeritus. Which is a role for life, really. And for as long as we're lucky enough to have them around, they lend their expertise, their wisdom, their knowledge to the distillers and the blenders who've followed in their footsteps. So congratulations to Dave McCabe. Had a chance to have a drink with Dave on Thursday night in Dublin, the day he was announced, and he's absolutely over the moon, thrilled and so humble at the same time, but he's really excited to get going. We're going to have a tasting with Dave, maybe one of his first tastings as master blender in the Stories and Sips Whiskey Club, first week of January. We're going to do a Redbreast tasting first week of January with Dave as well, so more details on that to come. While we're on the topic of Stories and Sips, just to give you folks a little update on our new club releases. So we moved into a new chapter of our club this 2 weeks ago or 10 days ago with the release of a dual release of 2 whiskies, which were the WD O'Connell Amontillado single cask inside my glass here, and also our peat cask, which I have over here. 2 5-year-old single pot still whiskies. First time they've ever been released like this by WD O'Connell. Cask strength single pot stills in a sherry cask and a peat cask. And I'm delighted so many of you took us up on the offer of our bundle. And the goal with us releasing these or acquiring 2 casks was, we've never acquired more than 1 cask before at a time for the club, but it's about time that we had whiskies on our shelves when new members join us. So now we do. So we still have bottles available, so you can buy them anytime as a club member, or when new club members arrive, they can get access to the shelves as well, which is a good thing. And I think over time we want our shelves to grow. It's not really great for a club to sell out everything instantly, because then you got nothing for the members to have after you sell out your cask. So I'm delighted that everyone who wanted a bottle got one, and those who want more can get more afterwards, which is good news for us. So those are available on storiesandsips.com. You can go there anytime and access the purchasing links for our whiskies. No limit to how many you want. If you want another bundle, go for it. Storiesandsips.com is where you'll find the details of that. Moving swiftly along, we're at the end of our Black Friday sale for our t-shirts and our sweatshirts and our tote bags and caps and hats and beanies on our shop, storiesandsips.com website. If you do want to get 25% off site-wide, store-wide, next 24 hours, that'll be live for. So if you want to get hold of any great t-shirts, shop, storiesandsips.com, 25% off for Black Friday / Cyber Monday, happening tomorrow. I know many of you did buy some of those already on Black Friday, but there's lots of great designs in there. And we'll be launching a Christmas line of t-shirts and totes and things in the next few days. So including all over printed sweaters for Christmas, Irish whiskey inspired. So you may want to get your hands on those. They'll be launching in the next week as well. All right. That's it for those bits and pieces.
Whiskey Christmas jumpers. I just saw a great question there. I think it was from Doug, about what is a good whiskey to have in an old fashioned. Funny you should say that, because I may have a recommendation in here. However, off the top of my head, Blackbush is amazing. Bushmills Blackbush is one of the best Irish whiskies in an old fashioned, and Pars Rye. They would be my top two to use. They are sensational whiskies for an old fashioned.
Great suggestions.
Yeah.
I'd only add in there too, Redbreast 12 makes for a great old fashioned, and also our Shorecross, a peated single malt, a smoky old fashioned, fantastic. I had 3 of them the other night when I should have only had one, and they're absolutely amazing. And the sweetness and the smoke, I love the pairing.
Chocolate orange as well. That would be beautiful.
Yeah, I know. Smoky. So here's what we want to do tonight. We want to address the stressful moments that pop up in the course of your planning over the next 4 weeks, 3 weeks and 5 days of planning, and the day itself. It's going to be stressful. It's going to be, I think you're going to want to pull your hair out a number of times. You're going to want to run into the hills screaming blue murder. You may have murderous thoughts, but we want to remove those from you by calming you down with a drop of the good stuff at the appropriate time. Now, you may have some suggestions as well for how to breeze through the holiday period in a state of zen calmness. If it doesn't involve Irish whiskey, we don't want to know about your woo-woo calmness zen approaches. It must involve Irish whiskey. If you find meditation gets you through this, God bless you, but it's not for here. If you find a lovely walk in the countryside clears the air and clears your head, more power to you, not for here. We want the Irish whiskey inspired zen for the holiday period, right?
Absolutely. In the words of Father Jack, we need a good drink.
We need a good drink inside us, and then we'll sit down and we'll have another drink.
Absolutely. I think the bottom line is remembering that Christmas Day is exactly that. It's one day. So don't get stressed out. Try not to overthink it. It's not the end of the world. But if it does get very stressful, there's always an Irish whiskey. There's always a solution.
You. All right. Who's up first?
Who is up first with so myself and Barry have both selected certain elements of Christmas, not even just specifically Christmas, kind of the lead up to Christmas, and both throughout and during the day itself, as to what may cause you to let out a few expletives, want to pull your hair out, want to scream blue murder, all of the above. And I think this is yours, Barry. This was your first one. So you start with the tree. You got to start with the tree.
Yeah, and I think some people might have their tree up already. I don't have my tree yet. Maybe in the next day or two I'll get a tree. But the I think it's about the week for the tree. Typically, first as soon as Thanksgiving is over, the tree is ready to go and can stay up well into the next year. So buying the tree can be stressful though. So you've got lots of questions to ask, and you may not have all the answers depending on the size of your family. Do you go for a real tree? Do you have a fake tree? Do you cut down your own tree? Do you go to somewhere that sells the tree? Do you have the tree delivered? Do you bring it home yourself? Does the tree get kind of shrink wrapped and put on top of your car? Do you have a roof rack? Do you not? Does it get stuffed into the car? Do you have to sit on either side? You and your significant other sit on either side of the spines and the needles as you drive home. Lots of things that can be quite stressful. And on top of that, it's going to be cold when you're buying your tree, and you're going to be tired. And then your car is going to be full of needles by the time you get it home if you stuck it inside, unless you put it on the roof, in which case you have to ensure that it stayed on the roof all the way home. And that by the time you got home, there was a tree there and it wasn't on the highway 3 miles back. So buying the tree can be stressful, right? But we see many examples of tree buying in modern culture, and I think that tree buying deserves it deserves a drop of eggnog, which is a cocktail made with Irish whiskey in our case. A little bit of cream, a few kind of spices here and there, but it's a cocktail that would kind of be familiar with those who are fans of National Lampoon's Christmas Vacation. And of course, the Christmas tree, when Clark puts up the Christmas tree, it is a beaut. And he puts on the lights. Everyone loves the tree. So I think we're going to start off by saying, have a little eggnog. It's a holiday cocktail, or have an Irish coffee. So you could either have an Irish coffee or an eggnog. But we're starting off with a cocktail because it's a long holiday period ahead. We got to pace ourselves. So 40% ABV, maybe Jameson Original, Powers Gold label, maybe even Black Bush in the old coffee if the Irish coffee if you're crazy, and start off with that to get the holiday spirit going. And you must have those little cups with little reindeer antlers as the handles for your eggnog as well if you're going to drink them.
Oh yes, a little bit of a decoration. A little
Absolutely.
garnish. Yeah, an Irish coffee eggnog, quite comforting, as you say, easy start. Good to get you into the festive spirit. Not fully drinking whiskey neat at this stage just yet. You know my
No.
problem with real Christmas trees, though. I have seen many videos on social media, on TikTok and Instagram, of some giant spiders that come out of them
What?
as well, which would just freak me out completely. Yeah, can you
I've never
imagine
heard of
that
that.
crawling over you in the car?
Now, that's the first time I've heard of that. I mean, I've seen spiders come out of some crazy places, like inside bananas. Have you ever seen that one?
Yeah, yeah. Oh,
Yeah. I mean, years
horrible.
ago when I was working on cruise ships and I had to buy fruit and veg for the ship, we had to empty all the banana boxes before we brought them on the ship because big tarantulas would squirrel away inside the banana boxes in the Caribbean and South America. Yeah, not good. Anyway, why are we freaking people out with talk of spiders now? It's supposed to be Christmas talk.
I know it is supposed to be. It's supposed to be festive. No, we're being Grinches tonight, though. You see, we have to
All
bring
right.
the mood down. We have to bring the mood down.
So start with the tree, right? Holiday shopping fatigue. Is this mine as well? I think
That's
this is mine as
yours.
well.
Yeah.
Okay. Look, there's two types of people. There's the type of people who have all their shopping done in July. They've done it online. They've found gifts for their family. They know their family. They know what they need. They know everybody's likes and dislikes. I don't know who these maniacs are, but they're out there and they manage to get the shopping done before anybody else. And then there's the other type of people, me, that on Christmas Eve, I'm wondering how do you get next day delivery from Amazon, but it doesn't happen. And you're trying to make sure that everybody gets a gift. But honestly, now it's already started. I can see it in the shops already. People are going crazy, and there's people bringing their own boxing gloves now with them when they're going shopping because they know what they're about to encounter. Like it can get crazy, can't it?
It's absolute chaos. Like any time, well, I was obviously, as we said last week, just recently in Galway, the place was packed. You couldn't move for Christmas shoppers, people at the Christmas markets looking to pick up something maybe from a local sort of supplier, which is obviously amazing, but it was crazy. In and around Belfast yesterday as well, you could barely get a space in the car parks. It is unbelievable. I'm definitely more, I wouldn't quite be as bad as a Christmas Eve present buyer, but I'm definitely not as organized to buy my gifts in July or even November. I know a lot of people use Black Friday as a good kind of reason to
Yeah.
get their gifts in, bit of discount, which is always great. But I'm usually the week before, I think, is when I start thinking about it. I'm very chilled about Christmas, as you'll probably see as we make our way through these lists of suggestions. But no, it's chaos. It definitely has started already.
The obvious whiskies to buy when you've spent so much money on everything else is to take advantage of such good deals as the W.D. O'Connell single cask releases, the bundle from Stories and Sips, which saves you money. You've just gone and spent ridiculous amounts of money on everybody else. Now you can save money with the subsidized cost of a club bottling. I think this is the perfect pairing for holiday fatigue. After all, you don't want to waste your money. You want to spend it smartly, and you want to make sure you get good bang for your buck. Would you agree?
This is like the trend that is going around at the minute, girl math, which is like, okay, you buy a bundle, so one whiskey's basically free.
Honestly, like, and we've subsidized the shipping, so that makes it even cheaper. I mean, honestly, I'd figure that by the time you actually take delivery of this, you're actually in the positive. Like, you've actually
Yeah.
made money on the purchase of this because of all the money you've saved on what you would have done had this not been available.
Yeah, exactly. It's like if you buy, say, if you buy a sweater from a certain store, you don't like it, you take it back, you've earned money because you returned it, so you're free to buy something else. You haven't really,
100%.
but you've earned money because you got money back that you weren't expecting, so you've actually earned money.
Absolutely, absolutely. And like, I see some of the comments there. Tony bought his brother this gift for Christmas, the bundle. We still have 20 something bundles left, folks. If you want another bundle for a family member or a friend, have at it. Knock yourself out. They're all available on storieandsips.com. But this is the perfect pairing. I'll model them here for you. And if this doesn't sell them,
Just screenshot that right there and send it
nothing
to your
left.
friends and family. It's think about it though as well. If you're having guests over for Christmas, if you're pulling together a little whiskey tasting, you've got two whiskeys. There you go, two whiskeys sorted in one order. Perfect. Or I would actually imagine the peated one would make a lovely smoky old fashioned as well. The peated cask.
100%.
Yeah.
100%. I'm going to try this tomorrow. And it's not that peated. Like, there's
Mm.
a wisp of peat, but it is kind of there's a lemon curd kind of custard note to it. It's creamy. It's, for those who aren't peated fans, look, open it and try it, unless you're determined to give it away before you even try it. But I know there's plenty of people who do bottle shares and things like that in the group as well. But anyway, perfect purchase for the Christmas.
I love this, Amy. You buy your partner a present, but you also benefit from said present as well. So really, you've treated yourself, but in a in a sneaky way. I love that. Love the thought behind that. Great.
All right. Next
Any more
up,
quotes? So the forbidden snack cupboard. You folks in the comments can tell me if this is a very specific Irish thing. I don't imagine it is, but basically, the forbidden snack cupboard is exactly as it says on the tin. So, this would probably start the collection of said snacks, probably starts mid to end of November and runs right up until Christmas Eve. It's still being added to on Christmas Eve, or depending on when you have your certain friends or certain family members joining you. So the snack cupboard is, it can be sweets, can be candy, crisps, chips, I should say, anything basically sweet or savory. It could be putting cheese away in the fridge for a cheese board, anything at all, but you're not allowed to touch it. And it can be very frustrating that you're not allowed to touch it because it's reserved specifically for guests coming over or Christmas Eve or Christmas Day, even though there is so much added to this cupboard that it would be physically impossible to eat in one day anyway. You can make a good stab at it, but you would be very sick or end up like me after Christmas dinner, you eat chocolate. Actually, you eat chocolate for breakfast on Christmas Day, and you end up in a heap on the sofa in front of the fire at 3 p.m. But it's one of those things that is so frustrating because you're not allowed to touch it. However, if you want something sweet and you can't touch the snack cupboard, a clove and rum and raisin, which I have right here in my glass, is the perfect solution. It has lovely hints of coconut, butterscotch, raisins, prunes, everything you could want from a whiskey at Christmas, and it will fill in that void that you're missing and help your sweet tooth.
Lauren, let me ask you this: a woman of your age, and I say this with great respect and reverence, that you are somehow forbidden from eating food of a certain type. Like, this
Yeah.
seems like an unfair punishment on someone who's no longer a child.
It's like you're not allowed to do that. Now, my own snacks are free game, but if it's snacks that have been bought by, say, my parents and put away, can't touch those. Got to leave those for family members and my cousins and so on and so forth,
Okay.
who join us on Christmas Eve. So yes, my own snacks are free game. I'll buy my own snacks, no problem. But these are very specific. It's a very specific section in the cupboard.
And then do you on Christmas Day? Then do you pull open that cupboard like a wild animal and devour everything? Like you don't even take the papers off the sweets; just go straight into them, eat them all.
Just eat the whole thing. Yeah, there's no time to be removing wrapping
No.
paper from sweets on Christmas Day. No one's got time for that. You just rip the crisp packets straight open and just spill it everywhere. Eat it off the table. Eat it off the floor if you wish.
Right.
Anything at all.
Now, what would the nearest hospital be to you on Christmas Day?
About a 25-minute drive away. So
do you have it already pre-programmed into your phone just to press go on the Apple Maps? Yeah.
I do. I have the helicopter on standby, you see, to just airlift me and drop me in there in case of emergency.
Let me ask you this: when you were growing up, did you leave something out for Santa the night before, like on Christmas Eve? What was the table?
So it used to put the fear of God into me, and I used to find it really hard, I think, like most kids, to fall asleep on Christmas Eve because I always thought if I didn't sleep, Santa wouldn't come. What did I leave out? So for Santa, I left out, I think it was cookies. Yeah, like chocolate chip cookies, a glass of milk, always left out, a little chocolate bar, and I left Rudolph. Specifically Rudolph, not all the reindeer. God love the rest of them. It was only Rudolph got a carrot. Left the carrot out and a bowl of milk for Rudolph.
Oh,
so
wow.
That was very he was well fed by the time he left my house anyway.
And were they all gone when you came down then the next morning?
Yeah, all disappeared. Half of the glass of milk was gone. There was maybe a few crumbs of the cookie and a carrot, a little bit of carrot left over. And the milk was spilled everywhere as well. So yeah,
there was we had a more alcoholic offering for Santa that that involved a glass of sherry, and then so we'd leave a carrot, a glass of sherry, some cookies, but then the next morning, like there'd always be like a man lying on the ground beside the empty glass of sherry in the shape of my dad, just kind of lying there, having devoured the sherry. No, Santa, of course, devoured the sherry. But yeah, I was always curious, like, what kind of a constitution Santa had that he could handle all those hundreds of millions of homes and hundreds of millions of sherries.
Yeah.
But fair play to him, he got home in one piece.
That was my fear, I think. I think that's why I never left alcohol out for him, because I was too scared that he'd be too drunk to drive the sleigh and navigate the reindeer to other houses around the world. So I was all heart. I've just seen Mark say he put deer teeth marks into the carrots. I can't believe I'm about to tell this story, and if my dad's listening to this, he is going to kill me. But there was one. This just shows the level of dedication my parents went to make Christmas special for me. He went to a horse farm not too far from my house and got horse poo and put it in my front garden to be like, Rudolph's been here.
Oh, no way.
I swear. So that was probably the most like oh my word, he's definitely been here all right anyway. There's reindeer poo.
That's amazing. That's amazing.
Dedication.
That's so
Oh
great.
dear. And then back to the matter in hand with Chloe Rum and Raisin. We're getting very distracted now by reindeer poo and sherry and Santa being drunk and everything else. If you have guests over the festive period who maybe aren't whiskey drinkers, they're maybe I don't know, maybe just not seasoned whiskey drinkers, they're maybe not a fan of whiskey, or at least they think they're not a fan of whiskey. One of my favorite ways to drink whiskey, if I want it in a cocktail, is a twist and an espresso martini. So if you make a rum teeny using Clowen's rum and raisin, it is beautiful. I think it was Amy actually in the comments last week was saying how much she enjoyed whiskey espresso martinis. Honestly, they're typically made with vodka, but when you put whiskey in them, you will never go back to vodka. Obviously, whiskey has a lot more flavor, it's a lot more body than vodka does. So about 50 bar, you can translate this into ounces. So about 50 ml Clowen rum and raisin, 35 ml. What about, sorry?
So
2
1.5
ounces?
ounces.
1.5, 2. Yeah, two if you're feeling like a bit of booze. So 50 ml Cologne rum and raisin, about 35 ml coffee liqueur. Bear in mind, Cologne also have a coffee liqueur, Cologne Gloria. 25 ml espresso, and if you want to sweeten it up a little bit more, you can add between 10 to 15 mils of vanilla syrup, which can be bought in bottled form pretty easily. It should be at most sort of retailers, wholesalers as well. So it's a really nice little serve for Christmas.
I like it.
Yeah, it's really nice and sweet but sharp. Obviously you have the coffee in there, and then the whiskey as well just adds that nice round
I don't have any coffee liqueur. I need to change that. I don't have any.
Yeah, Clowen obviously have their Gloria, which is beautiful with the 2 stacks cream liqueur. If you mix them together, that is a savage festive drink. I'll definitely be having that.
Is the Gloria available all the time, or was that a once-off release?
I'm actually not sure. I'm not 100% certain. Copeland also have just released the coffee liqueur as well. You can also use Kahlua. It's very widely available. Gorgeous. Oh, there's a good suggestion, Barry. Brian's just said a Stories and Sips cocktails recipe book.
We'll add it to the list.
There we are. Yeah, this is a great one. I love it. Really nice. Next up, this is me again. This is another one of my personal woes, isn't it? While I'm on a rant, I may as well keep going. Yeah, David Sorry's just made another good suggestion there. Jameson cold brew. That would be lovely. So tangled lights. This tends to happen around this time. So the last week of November, coming up to December. Obviously, depends whenever you put your Christmas tree up. But for some reason, every single year you put your Christmas decorations away. You wrap the lights so carefully, maybe around like a tube or something like that, to keep them untangled. And the same thing happens. It's the same when you put your headphones in your pocket. They go in, untangled, and they come out, and they've somehow got themselves into some form of knot. It is the bane of a lot of people's lives, and it's the bane of my life. Tangled lights cause arguments, they cause frustration. You're annoyed at yourself, you're annoyed at the fact you didn't put them away properly. And it's just a nightmare. And it's even worse if one's tangled and then you untangle it and figure out there's a fuse and they're not working. So you have to go and buy new lights. Anyway, this happens every single year in my house. So untangling the lights, you quite often nearly give yourself a black eye trying to untangle them. So a black bush for a black eye, that'll cure you.
Genius.
Black bush, I know for a lot of people, certainly for many, many years in my house, has been a staple at Christmas. I don't think there has ever been a period that there has never been a bottle of Blackbush in my house, even before I was able to legally drink alcohol. It's a staple. It's just a classic whiskey. It's a crowd pleaser. I always say, if in doubt, just offer someone a drop of Blackbush and they'll be happy. It's just such a great whiskey to have in the house, neat, and for cocktails as well. And another festive serve if you have guests or you just fancy something a little bit different on an evening is a Blackbush blackberry sour. So this is really nice, kind of comforting, nice and festive, and it's pretty easy to make as well. Now, if you don't have a shaker, I should have mentioned this when I was talking about the rum teeny. If you don't have like a Boston shaker or a cocktail shaker of some form, just use a glass. It works equally as well, or like a protein shaker, a flask, something you can cover, anything at all will suffice. So for this one, you would use about 50 mils Blackbush. So again, kind of maybe 1.5, 2 ounces, as Barry said. Fresh lemon juice, 25 mils. Sugar syrup, which is really easy. That's actually great to have and to keep in your fridge over the festive period. You literally just do 1 to 1 water, sugar, let the sugar dissolve, and you can keep it in your fridge for a couple of weeks. So 15 ml sugar syrup, 4 fresh blackberries muddled. So you just muddle them in the bottom of your shaker or your glass, 4 sage leaves, and then 1 egg white as well. Don't be put off by the egg white. It is literally just to add a little bit of mouthfeel and to add the foam on top of the cocktail. So it's a great little festive winter warmer.
Would those blackberries be tangled or muddled?
Muddled.
Okay.
Muddled.
The lights
What's
are tangled. The lights are tangled. The blackberries are muddled. Is it?
I'm with you. I was like, is this some new form of preparing blackberries for a cocktail that I haven't heard of? The blackberries, no, they're muddled or tangled blackberries. Yeah, so you just kind of sort of squash them up a little bit at the bottom of the shaker, and then when you strain it anyway, there won't be any remnants of them in your cocktail. Just the lovely flavor that they leave over.
Blackbush is a fantastic, to me, the best value blended Irish whiskey on the market. And 80% malt and 20% grain. Like, it's a huge high malt component, and the sherry cask maturation as well as the bourbon barrel. It's a winner. It's a winner. I don't think you'll find a better balanced blend than Blackbush for the price. Just won't. Nobody can beat it.
No, it really is. I don't think anyone will honestly beat it, truth be told. It's always been one of my go-to whiskies, and even around in Ireland at this time of year, it's very often on offer. So if you have like a club card with a certain supermarket, you get really, really good deals coming up to Christmas on certain spirits and beers and wines and things. So you can pick Blackbush up for like, honestly, 22, 23 euro around Christmas. It's unbelievable value. And yeah, always has a place on my shelf.
When you were younger, do you remember when the lights are being put in the tree, if a light bulb blew, did it blow the whole string, or did you just have, oh, it did. So you had to go find that one missing,
Find the fuse. Yeah.
Yeah. You didn't know which one
Nightmare.
was the one that blew it.
Yeah. Yeah, you're going through like, where is it? Which one is it? Yeah, it was a nightmare. Thankfully, touch wood, I'll be taking my Christmas decorations out in the next couple of days. I'm always a 1st of December tree person. Always the 1st of December, no earlier, no later. So we'll see how well the lights have survived being in storage for 11 months. We shall see.
Okay, so if you've got the strength and the stamina to put together a cocktail after untangling the lights, then that's the one for you, the blackberry sour.
The blackberry sour, absolutely. I see a lot of love for Blackbush in the comments as well. I think Doug there's just poured. That was your first Irish old fashioned. That's amazing. You're off to a good start anyway. You'll not go wrong with Blackbush in any cocktail. To be honest, it's really versatile whiskey. But genuinely try the Powers. The Powers Ryan and old fashioned is gorgeous. Really,
we did
nice.
some damage with those in the Shelburne at some point in the whiskey bus.
I was just about to say that, I think we probably drank the Shelburne Dry of Powers Rye. That I did not mean for that to rhyme. over the whiskey bus. The Powers Rye old fashions are interesting. I think it sent us all a little bit wild, but anyway.
It did, yeah.
Great crack.
Yeah.
Great crack. I'm on a roll here.
You're up again.
My festive scenarios. I think this is one everybody can probably relate to, is say if you've maybe left the wrapping of your presents. So if you're a late gift buyer, you'll be even later wrapping the presents. So if you're maybe in a bit of a rush, you're cutting the wrapping paper and you kind of guess it by eye. You maybe don't measure the size of the present properly against the wrapping paper, and you just kind of gauge it by a look. You cut it too quickly. You go to fold the wrapping paper over the present, and you realize it doesn't cover it completely. So there's still a little bit of the present visible. You haven't cut enough wrapping paper. It doesn't matter what way you turn the present or the gift, you can't get it covered. So if you do this, to be PC about this, you might be feeling you might be feeling a little bit like a word that rhymes maybe with lit, maybe with zit. So to keep with the bird theme, you pour yourself a drop of Redbreast 12. Everybody can read between the lines of that one. Redbreast 12, beautiful pot still whiskey. It's just a classic to have on your shelf. It's always on my shelf. It has been for a number of years. It is great to bring out at Christmas. I feel like it's one of those ones where even if you're kind of bringing a family member over, they say they don't like whiskey, you're like, okay, I'll change your mind. Here's a glass of Redbreast 12. Just a great whiskey to have in the house.
It's Redbreast often talk about this being the Christmas cake of whiskies,
Yes,
and
exactly.
mostly because of the spices and notes and profile that we recognize within that whiskey. So dark fruits and sherry casks. And growing up, when our grandparents or our parents were making Christmas puddings, they would have used a lot of those dark fruits, those raisins and those
Yeah.
cherries and those and then also poured a healthy dose of sherry, normally a full bottle of it, either into the Christmas cake or the Christmas pudding. And the phrase was to help preserve it, as if it was going to last longer than the day it was eaten anyway. But that smell, the kitchen smell, would have been a lot like now when you open that bottle of Redbreast. So I think that Christmas cake of whiskies is an appropriate moniker for Redbreast 12, I think.
Yeah, and then of course they released the Christmas cake edition last year, didn't they? It actually was around November time. The Redbreast, the Christmas cake.
In the
Um,
Barrel Club, yeah.
yes, I
Yeah.
know a few people got their hands on it. So yeah, no, exactly, perfect Christmas whiskey. And you mentioned this, Barry, a few minutes ago. Again, great old fashioned. So we've mentioned Blackbush, we've mentioned Powers Rye. Redbreast 12 is equally as amazing in an old fashioned. And if you want to make it a little bit more festive, kind of a little bit more warming, use maybe some bitters that might kind of are reminding you of Christmas, of the festive period, you can do so. Old fashions are great because one, they are the easiest cocktail to make. And you can twist it up, you can switch out a few things and really adjust the kind of volume of certain things, whether it's sugar syrup or the whiskey, to adjust your own preference, your own palate. So 15 mils again, 1.5 to 2 ounces of Redbreast 12. Maple syrup, rather than regular sugar syrup, kind of adds that lovely layer of sweetness, great for this time of year. 3 to 4 dashes of, you can either use orange or chocolate bitters. You can use both. You can even do 2 dashes of orange, 2 dashes of chocolate, and you have that lovely Terry's chocolate orange influence in there. And if you really want to be fancy, I actually think I saw Caroline Brannigan do this during the week in the grip, is a sherry float. So if you just get the back of a spoon and pour the sherry, Oloroso sherry, over it, it will float on top of your cocktail and give you a lovely little aesthetically pleasing drink as well. So you
I
can
like
really
that.
shake it up.
I've never done that. I'm going to try that.
Yeah, it's really nice. Just adds another layer to it, another kind of flavor layer.
I can make about 12 different cocktails. All of them are called old fashions.
They're so easy. They're so easy, and it's a crowd pleaser. It's brilliant.
They are. And you know what? I've said this before. I can't drink all my whiskey straight. There's just, like, I want to shake it up a bit. I want a little bit of variety. Sometimes I want to mix it. Sometimes, you got to have a trusty mixer on hand. Other times you want to mix it with a little sugar syrup and ice. But an old fashioned is a great way to enjoy even your favorite whiskeys.
Yeah, it's so good. And again, like, test it out, try different things, try different
Yeah.
whiskeys. Again, we always say if you want a good meal, a good dinner, you use great ingredients. If you want a great cocktail, you use a great whiskey or a great spirit base in there as well. You'll never regret it.
I'll also go to my grave maintaining that an old fashioned does not have muddled fruit in it. And I have had many
Yeah.
old fashions served over the years that were muddled cherries, muddled orange, and it's disgusting.
Yeah.
And these these cocktails should be banned, should be barred. They're not old fashions. Like, to me, the only fruit that goes into an old fashioned is a little expression of orange peel at best. Like, that's it.
The oils,
That's it.
good citrus. Yeah, no, totally. There's some drinks where the base ingredients stay exactly the same or stay sort of along the lines of being similar. There's some things you just don't do. I'm with Greg on this one, Barry. I am cracking up at you watching you drink from that glass.
As I've always said, it doesn't matter what vessel you drink out of as long as there isn't a hole at the bottom of it, only a hole at the top.
An old bit. A welly bit. Oh, brilliant.
And it's not like I don't have a selection of glassware. Like, I've even got like your lovely Causeway glasses here as well that
Oh yeah.
get a good use as well.
An
And
old
regular
fashioned look.
Glencairns, but
Yeah, an old fashioned looks well in one of those Sexton glasses actually.
yeah,
Especially if
yeah,
you have the ball of ice.
yes.
The ball of ice or a square of ice always looks great in an old fashioned. Looks fantastic.
Oh, you're up
So
again.
I'm up again. I should have just Barry. You should have just taken a back seat tonight and enjoyed your massive glass of whiskey.
I'll be over here if anybody's looking for me.
Over here minding my business. You know what it'll be? How you said earlier that the regular Glencairn felt really small there. It's like, so, you know, if you have the big iPhone, like the iPhone X, which I have, and then you hold someone else's, which is the regular size, and you're like, I can't do anything on
How do I
this.
press these buttons?
This is too small. Rich just said the glass is normal size, Barry's just shrinking.
That's true. The old, as I age, the old osteoporosis is kicking in there, I'd say.
Kicking in. Yeah, you might fall into that glass before the end of the night. You better keep that out of harm's way over the festive period in case anyone does fall into it. That'll be the last thing you need.
It's okay. I keep a life jacket beside it anyway. If anything happens, I have a life jacket on standby.
Great. throw it in. Throw a bit of rope in with a life jacket, all as well. So, me again. Me off on a rant again. Sorry, folks. This is just you having to listen to me complain about Christmas pains. This one, again, yesterday I was in Belfast for the launch of a Dunville single cask, which is exclusive to a bar, a very well known established bar in Belfast. And I was in and around the city Saturday night, in and around the Cathedral Quarter, Belfast City Centre, where all the classic bars are, Duke of York, Madden's, Kelly Cellars, you name it. And I was reminded of this one. And it's the once a year drinkers. And what I mean by that, it's those people who come out of the woodwork at Christmas. They don't really go out during the year. You don't really see them in your local or in your local bars during the year. And they come out, they can't handle their drink very well. They fill up all your favorite bars. You can't get in the door. And it's very annoying. It's very annoying when you can't get in the door of your favorite bar. It's like, where were you on the first Monday of April? Where were you when I was sitting in the corner having a stout and a glass of whiskey? So it's just a little bit annoying. Obviously, it's great that people are out enjoying themselves, but it can be a little bit frustrating when you can't get a seat. So what you do in this instance is you take back the power and you order a classic Pars John's Lane. But
Can you believe she's paid for this? Like, this is unbelievable.
I put a lot of thought into this. There was a lot of reasoning.
I can't believe we pay her every week. Oh, this is unbelievable. Amazing. Like, honestly, the effort you've put into this is second only to the effort you put into the whiskey bus. Honestly, this is unbelievable.
Listen,
I can tell this is a kind of a personal vendetta. This is turning into 100%. Lauren's gripes with the world around Christmas time.
I think we have. I think every week on the shebang from here on, we have a section where I just complain about things, and I
It's
feel like a
called
lot of people would agree with me.
that. And another thing,
And another thing, Johnny just said amateur hour. Exactly.
what's the
Exactly.
Family Guy episode where Peter talks about, what really grinds his gears? That really grinds my gears. Everything grinds his gears. This is going to be Lauren's. Lauren's going to have a little segment every week. You know what really grinds my gears?
Gripes with Lauren. Yes, there we are. New section of the shebang going forward. It's just every per soul having to listen to me complain. Lauren lashes out. Yes, Brian, I like that. I'm taking that one. That's great. Listen, you know how it feels. Weekends are bad enough at times in your favorite local bar, but Christmas is another level. It is another level. You genuinely cannot move. You're six people deep at the bar. You can't get through. And it's even worse when you're trying to carry multiple pints in
The
your hand,
answer is
especially
avoid it.
Guinness. Loads of glasses of Guinness, and people are knocking into you. You're spilling the cream, the foam down the side of the glass. Nightmare.
First of all,
Nightmare.
the Christmas drinks is a young man's game. None of us should be going out there for this anymore. Honestly, now we can watch it on YouTube. There's people having drinks on YouTube. You can watch them, and you can sit and have a drink with them. And nobody's going to spill any of them on you. You can sit at home in the comfort of your own sofa, and no one's going to drop or spill creamy porter on you.
No, very true.
Okay.
It's the time of year where you have to go into a pub. If you want a seat, if you want a table, you genuinely have to be there at like 5 p.m. or you have no chance. By 7, the place is packed to the rafters, can't move. So just something I was reminded of last night as to why, if you are going out over Christmas, if you can do it on a weekday, it's probably going to be better than a weekend.
And if not, take back the power.
Take back the power. I'm still going.
Lauren, you go. You keep at it there. I'm gonna just have a few drinks.
Do you have anything to add here, Barry? I feel like I've just been quite literally complaining for the last 45 minutes.
Lauren, I'm afraid to jump in because you're on such a roll, and there's power in your complaining. I wouldn't want to step in the way of it.
I'm on a roll and I'm going to keep going. Listen, I have plenty of whiskey here to keep complaining. I can go on. I can add more if everybody needs me to. We'll be sitting here at 3 a.m. Everyone will have left and I'll just be sitting complaining.
It'll just be Lauren on her own going, and another thing.
16 whiskeys deep, start pouring a Guinness from the fridge, and I'll just be complaining.
And anyway, I said to him, and I said to him, you don't know my life. You don't know my life.
Slumped against the seat. This one, we've all been here. We have all been here, especially say maybe you live a little bit away from home, or maybe your ex-partner lives a little bit away from home, but everybody comes together. Everyone comes home at Christmas. Everyone gathers in the local watering holes, the local haunts in your town. You're sitting at the bar. You're sitting with your girlfriends, your boyfriends, whoever you're out with. You're having a great old time. You have a sip of your pint. You look up from the table and you lock eyes with your ex across the bar. We've all been there. It's all happened in one scenario or another. So in that case,
you have a glass
what do you do? There is no possible whiskey that could help you in this situation, so just hit the tequila.
The solution to all life's problems, I'm sure.
Tequila.
The source no whiskey. And solution.
No whiskey. You just walk up to the bar and you order a glass of Jose, a glass of Patron. Pick your tequila of choice, whatever it may be, and you down it and you leave. There we are.
I'm going to call time on this one. I feel like this is a very specific Lauren problem, and something like Lauren's just putting in a very specific moment she remembered. But would you not just ask them to pull down off the shelf the old party glass and have a whiskey, just the one in this, instead of the old tequila?
I mean, you could also do that, but I feel like the bars across the country, up and down Ireland, that have a massive party Glencairn are very few and far between. So unless I carry the thing around with me, I might be in trouble.
Listen, I'd say go easy on the tequila if you spot anyone you know that you don't want to know in a bar, because um, yeah, tequila is not known for its good decision making qualities.
No, it's really not, is it? It's definitely not. Now, don't get me wrong. I think everyone knows this because I've mentioned it so many times. I love tequila. I love tequila. Margarita is my favorite cocktail. I'm just saying, sometimes the whiskey, if it's not hitting right, go on to the tequila.
All right. Well, Lauren's having a good old rant here tonight. So, but look, I think we'll take it back from her now. And Lauren's going to do shots while we continue with the next one. So,
Let me go get my tequila. Ice shots.
I just have a little vial of it in my sock here that I'll pull out.
One
All right.
second.
So, Christmas time continues. You're over the fear of seeing your ex, so you still have the hangover from the tequila, and it's time to cook the turkey. But lo and behold, you've been put in charge of the turkey, and you fancy your chances. You may not have done it before, but that's not going to stop you. Or you may never have cooked a bird this size, or you may decide this year, honey, I have a great idea. We're going to deep fry the turkey outside. We're going to lower it in on a rope into a outside deep fat fryer of oil, and we're going to crispy cook that turkey. Great job. Well done. The idea is sound, but guess what? You end up burning the turkey. We've all seen the clips on TV and the maybe National Lampoon where they cut into the turkey and it just collapses. There's nothing left inside it. You burnt it to a crisp. In which case, you have to turn to a drop of whiskey. The only thing you might be able to turn to at that stage is a drop of Connemara smoked, peated Irish whiskey, because the house is already full of smoke. You're already peated from all the smoke that's in the house yourself. So you might as well have the drink to go with it. And not only that, you go for a Connemara 12-year-old. Why? Because you're going to be talked to like a 12-year-old, like a young child that couldn't cook a bit of pizza, let alone a turkey. So you go for the Connemara 12-year-old. You have a smoky whiskey to go with the flavor of your house at that moment, and to remind yourself that you are still the mind of a 12-year-old when it comes to cooking, are all things semi-responsible. So that's the appropriate drink to go with a burnt turkey.
You could not have picked a better pairing. Could not have picked a better pairing. The smoke, the peat, you may as well match your turkey at Christmas. Brilliant. That's amazing. That's honestly a quality, absolutely quality. Yeah, you've seen all those videos of people pull the turkey out of the oven and it's quite literally black. Like there is just a layer of char on the turkey.
I mean, what an absolute insult to the household that you're entertaining to burn a turkey, and no greater way to demonstrate your lack of abilities as an adult or a husband or a wife than to burn the turkey. Look, you have one job. Well, actually, coming up to Christmas, you have 100 jobs. But the one you're going to be judged on is when someone says, "Oh, that's a very moist turkey. Oh, lovely. Very moist. Very moist." The ultimate compliment.
And the thing is, typically you would only have one turkey. If it's Christmas Eve, Christmas Day, where are you going to find another turkey? You're just not. So you've ruined Christmas. You burn the turkey, you've ruined Christmas dinner.
Now, you may have a few turkeys turned up for Christmas dinner to eat with you, but you can't be cooking them. I'm brining the turkey in peated Irish whiskey now. That's a good idea. Yeah, you could brine the turkey, but I might over smoke it. Like, I mean, I have it here.
You have a turkey or a Connemara 12?
I have a turkey here. I've been cooking all day behind me.
Here's one I made earlier.
I haven't had this in the longest time, so I'm going to have a wee drop of it here, in the middle of all the other things I'm drinking.
Yeah, me personally, peat is not for me. I have tried, genuinely, I'm not just saying this because you're in front of me. The only peated whiskey I've enjoyed is your Short Cross Club release.
She says that to all the boys.
That's the only one I've enjoyed so far. Not a big peat fan, but anyway.
We'll
You
make
are.
you. I'll make you an old fashioned next time I see you with the peat cask, the W O'Connell peat cask.
That's slightly different. I do really enjoy a peated old fashioned, because it's kind of the sugar syrup balances it out a little bit, as do the bitters. So I can take a smoked or a peated old fashioned or a smoked old fashioned. That's no problem. But a straight up peated whiskey, I'm still on my journey. Whether I will reach the destination or not is a different matter.
That I love that. Love that Connemara 12-year-old. It's not super peated. Like it doesn't taste. It's nothing near our Shorecross in terms of its peatiness, and it's very malty. It's very cereal like, and it's very kind of biscuity, almost graham cracker like. Really kind of grain forward. But it's a lovely, lovely whiskey. I have to come back to this Christmas. I won't burn the turkey in order to drink it, but I'll drink it to avoid burning the turkey.
That could be your next old fashioned.
Do you know what?
Connemara.
I actually, do you know what I need? I was only thinking of it today. Now that I'm enjoying my peated journey, I have lots of peated whiskies here. And I'm reading a fantastic book about peat and whiskey at the moment, written by a Scottish botanist slash geologist. He's a guy who he actually eats peat, like he eats it, and he can like. So there's people who can eat earth and they can tell you the mineral qualities of the earth. He eats peat, and in the book he does this fantastic history of turf and peat in the North Sea area and Ireland and Holland, and he talks about he eats peat and he's able to give tasting notes on the peat. Anyway, that's a little sidebar. I'm on a peat kick at the moment, but I want to compare my peated whiskies in a side-by-side tasting. So our Shorecross peated, Connemara 12, Waterford peated, our peat cask from Dahi O'Connell, because I'm only starting to understand the nuances of peat, which are just another layer on top of the nuances of whiskey anyway.
That's wild. It's like, I feel like everyone, when they were younger, well, I certainly did anyway, had a kid in my class who would eat soil, like eat dirt and
He wrote that
paper
book.
and like rubber. And like eat rubber and eat pencils.
We had a girl who ate chalk up in the on the blackboard.
Yeah,
Whenever she
yeah.
was leaving the class, she'd run her finger along the bottom and she'd go, yum. She'd love it. Love a bit of chalk.
Not like bite a little bit off.
She never had heartburn. Never. She always had this. All right, on we go. Okay. All right, Lauren, this seems very specific to Lauren again.
No, again, I feel like when you're around my age, maybe this happened more so when I was a little bit younger.
22.
There's I wish I was 22. I'll go with that. I'll tell everyone I am. There's always one family member. Maybe a great aunt, maybe your granny, whoever it may be. Maybe, well, you would probably see your granny more regular. Well, depending if you live far away. Anyway, there's usually one family member who you maybe don't see from one end of the year to the next. And then when they see you again at Christmas, you maybe come to a family dinner, you maybe don't have a partner with you, and they ask, why are you still single? Why is a person like you still single? And it might be a very long, complicated story that you quite literally cannot be bothered to go into. So you just brush it off and make up some excuse and you move on and ask them how their turkey is. Burnt.
And they're like, what's wrong with you that you're single? Like, what is it that are you broken somehow? Have you got some issues in the head? What's wrong with you?
Like, what's wrong?
You're a lovely looking girl. What's wrong with you?
What's the core issue here? What's the core problem? Are you career driven or what's going on? Always happens, always one. There's always one. Anyway, so if you're still rocking up to a Christmas party or any party and you're still single, you should bring a single malt. And in my case, one of my favorite single malts is the Dunville's 21-year Palo Cortado finish. Bring it with you.
Who needs a partner when you got that?
Exactly. Drown your sorrows. Your Dunville's can be your partner. Drown your sorrows in a bottle of Dunville's 21-year PC and you'll be grand. The world will not seem like quite a lonely place.
and it won't talk back to you.
Oh, exactly.
and you can
Oh,
talk to it all
perfect.
night, and you can walk around. I feel like the trick is to walk around a party holding a bottle of whiskey by the neck while swaying as you walk and talking
Just
loudly.
just walking
Yeah,
around with a glass of
yeah,
whiskey
yeah,
like
yeah,
this.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
This is the
yeah.
move. Trust me. This is the move.
Or do you be a real weirdo and like cradle your whiskey
Or do
and
you
pour wee
strap it to
drops?
your back and hook some kind of straw system and some kind of pump system to your whiskey?
Like one of the hiking backpacks that has the
Yeah,
water
yeah.
funnel coming
Little,
through,
little, little
or your
camelback.
backpack. You just pour it
Oh,
from.
that's right. That's right. Yeah.
There you are. Sorted.
All
Sorted.
right. Good one. Okay. All right. So next up, unexpected Christmas guests, folks. We've all had them. Maybe we've all been them. I don't know. But you've gone to great lengths to make Christmas wonderful for your family, and you're hoping certain people don't swing by, or you're not expecting anybody to swing by. And guess what? They do. So what do you do when the unexpected Christmas guests come along? Well, I would suggest that it depends. And I suggest it depends on whether you like them or you don't like them, because that'll determine what comes off the back bar or what comes off the shelf to be poured for the unexpected Christmas guests. So, for the guests you like, may I suggest a lovely bottle of Clonakilty port cask finish, a wonderful Christmassy red berry blended whiskey. One of my favorite blends when I first discovered Clonakilty was their Clonakilty port cask. Lovely new bottle shape as well. You give that to the guests you like because you want them to have a lovely, sweet hint of red berries. Reminds them of the holly that's growing around the house, around the garden at Christmas time, and might be adorning your walls. Now, I get into awful trouble if I start listing whiskies that you give the guests you don't like. That's your job. So, in the comments, what do you give the guests you don't like? Lauren, dare you suggest a whiskey?
I am not even going to go there. I'm not going to go there.
Cousin
Um,
Eddie. When Cousin Eddie comes around, what do you give Cousin Eddie?
because I'm not going to go there. I feel like this is going to be different for everybody because I feel like everyone has a pour. Maybe they've had, maybe it's on their shelf, maybe it's not opened, that you'll pull out from the back of the cupboard that you haven't touched in a while. You don't really
Scott.
care if they drink half the bottle. I was going to say Scotch as well, actually. Pete, I have that Clonakilty open on my.
Yeah, you do. Yeah, I see it. Yeah, beside the
Might actually
Dundle.
might pour a little drop of that before the night's out. It's a gorgeous whiskey.
So you kind of have a choice here. You don't want to give away your good stuff. You don't want to point out where you've kept the good stuff or if you've got it hidden away. So you got to give them something that's not going to be missed, and maybe you've been trying to get rid of it anyway. So I think that's kind of subjective. Everyone will have their own thing. I know what I would go for, but I can't say it out loud.
Kevin says Jägermeister. Couldn't agree more. That's enough punishment for one night.
I love Jägermeister.
You love Jägermeister.
Love it. Love it.
I mean, I think the last time I had Jaeger was when I was a student and you got £2.50 Jaeger bombs at a club night in Belfast, and I bought a lot of them
You overpaid.
back when I was young and silly. For a Jaeger bomb, though, it's not
Oh,
bad for a Jaeger
that's
bomb.
good going. That's good going. Yeah.
Yeah.
Macallan 12, Fireball, Bud Light. There's a lot there. Yeah, Fireball is the devil's whiskey.
I told you this before, folks. I've said this on the shebeen. There's live proof of me saying it. I like Fireball. It's my guilty pleasure.
Listen, cinnamon is supposed to go on an old pretzel. That's as far as it goes. It doesn't need to meet the whiskey. Cinnamon doesn't need to go to the liquor store.
Listen, I will only ever drink Fireball in a shot. And if someone hands me a shot of Fireball, I will gladly accept it.
I'd say there'd be very little now you'd turn down if somebody on a party night out and somebody hands you a shot. I'd say you'd drink Schwed out of a bucket.
You're painting me in such a lovely light here. Drink Fireball from a welly, yes. I feel like everyone has that. That's a good question for you, Barry, actually. I feel like everyone has the one spirit that maybe you were young and maybe you were a little bit silly. You hadn't quite learned your your limit levels where alcohol was concerned, and you maybe overdid it a little bit with a certain spirit. I have two. Vodka and wine are my two. Primarily vodka. Can't drink vodka. I hate it.
January 2000, Quebec City, tequila.
Oh yeah, your tequila. Yes, of course. Of course. Um, no, you see, I used to think the same when I was a young, silly student. I used to hate tequila because they used to serve really, really terrible chocolate tequila, like all Mecca tequila, in a club that I went to in Belfast, and it was awful.
Old Mecca,
Um,
yeah. Cheaper, just the
yeah,
cheap
and then
stuff.
I drank. It's awful. It's like floor cleaner. Then I drank good tequila, and I was like, okay, this is great. Like an aged, like an añejo tequila or a reposado drinks like a whiskey. It's great. So yeah, maybe
I'll
learn
give you
from
that.
everyone.
I'll give you that. That I will start a tequila journey and a mezcal journey at some point, but for now we'll leave well alone. But if you've guests you like or guests you don't like, there's another option, folks. You're not just restricted to grabbing this the bottom shelf scotch, because you could also give the guests you like some 2 stacks Irish cream, and the guests you don't like can get an old drop of Bailey's. Now, this is controversial. Bailey's was created by Gilbey's. Gilbey's created Redbreast. The shape of the Bailey's bottle is based on the shape of the Redbreast bottle of old. They are interconnected. However, I would challenge anybody to taste these two side by side and and to leave that tasting affirming their love for Bailey's or dedicating their life to Bailey's. Irish cream is one of 3 protected spirits in Ireland. Whiskey is one, poitín is the other, is another, and Irish cream is the third. And that means that they have specific technical requirements legally that are bound to in order to be called that thing. And those spirits are protected in the European Union. They have what's called a geographical indicator. So Irish cream can only be made in Ireland, has to be made a certain way with certain ingredients. By law, Irish cream only has to contain a minimum of 1% whiskey. 1%. That's not even a thimble in a case of Bailey's. 2 stacks has about 10 times that. It's also got a double cream, and it's got a little hint of peated whiskey, which gives a fantastic rounding to it. So don't be wasting your time, money, or talent wandering around the shelves looking for a drop of Bailey's. Go find yourself some 2 stacks Irish cream. Lauren, what say you?
Um, First of all, I am laughing so much at these comments about everyone's experience with Jaeger and Sambuca. Totally agree on Sambuca with David there. Gross.
I love
Couldn't agree more.
Sambuca. I love Sambuca.
What is wrong with you?
I
What is
love
wrong with
it.
you?
I could drink
Sambuca
Sambuca.
is vile.
That
Vile.
I would drink Sambuca over tequila any day of the week.
No. Nah. I'm gonna make it my personal mission to change that because you clearly haven't had very good tequila if you would pick Sambuca over tequila. Anyway.
Listen, I don't want to go on a tequila tasting with you because it won't be clear whether you're trying to educate me on tequila or you've spotted your ex across the bar and you're just downing tequila shots.
Pint of tequila, please. Barkeep, keep them coming. Yes, I couldn't agree more. So, as a perfect example of this, of the 2 stacks and versus Bailey's, at Belfast Whiskey Social about a month ago, maybe probably over a month ago or so now. There were so many people coming up to our stand. So we had an Irish Whiskey Experiences stand and an Irish Whiskey Auction stand. 2 stacks, the guys from 2 stacks couldn't be there, so we had some of their products on display on behalf of them. And one of them was the cream liqueur. And the amount of people who came up to us and said they saw the bottle, because it's I mean, all the 2 stacks bottles are gorgeous, but the black bottle with the gold font really stands out. So they were kind of like, what's this? We obviously told them what it was, and they said, no, I don't like cream liqueurs, hate Bailey's, don't like it. And we said, just try it, just give it a go. It's nothing like Bailey's. It is absolutely gorgeous. And we let them have a little taste of it, and they physically kind of took a step back and we're like, that's amazing. Like that's really, really good. So 100%. It is it's a cracker. Really nice. It's in I have a bottle in the fridge. I also have a bottle of the Mickle cream liqueur in the fridge as well, which is also very nice. So I'd say they'll certainly be enjoyed over the festive period with a little bit of ice in them, sipping away.
I will be devouring a caseload of the two stacks over Christmas, I'd say.
You need to get the Cologne Gloria. You need to get it and put them together. Gorgeous.
I'm okay. I'm a little concerned about the quantities of alcohol that are being pushed upon me here, foisted upon me. Like Irish cream on its own isn't enough. We must add something much higher in potency.
Yeah. Just a drop. A drop is fine, just to give you the coffee flavor. That's all you need.
For those who can't get the two stacks Irish cream in America, worry not, because when we do a two stacks release in January, hopefully, which will be our blend that we'll work on, we will bundle up the Irish cream so you can bundle it up for shipping out of Cork. So when you order it, order your two stacks club bottling, you can order a bottle of the cream, and we might find a way to get it discounted too from the lads so that you can get hold of it. So in January, we'll do our best to get you the Irish cream shipped over, just like you got your bundle of WD O'Connell. We can get you a bundle of two stacks. Don't say we don't help you. I won't hear it. I won't hear it. Okay. Next up. What's next?
What's next? Family disagreements.
All right. Okay.
Everyone relates to this.
It's going to happen. All right. It's going to happen because let's be honest. You don't choose your family. You choose your friends. And family, we can have all our arguments and we can all have different opinions on this. I will just say this. There are inevitably going to be disagreements when you get any number of different background or aged or different viewpoints in a room. You're going to have arguments, you're going to have disagreements, but you don't want it to ruin Christmas. Or it could ruin Christmas depending on the severity of it. Now, I would say this. Family disagreements can be avoided. They can be avoided by setting guidelines and rules at the start. We don't talk about politics. We don't talk about religion. We don't talk about sex. Whatever it is we don't talk about. We make a rule at the start of Christmas dinner and you say, Grandma, I don't want you talking about any of those three. And Grandma has to listen, right? But if there's family disagreements, I would suggest that there's really only one whiskey for the family that fights. And for the family that fights, they can only drink one thing. And that's the fighting whiskey. This is the whiskey of fighting people. And it's the whiskey of fighting people because it's made by the fighting person himself. If you're going to disagree, you might as well go the whole hog. You might as well drink the whiskey sponsored by fighting people. I've said it now. It's out there. This is the whiskey for family disagreements.
Or drink the whole bottle and fight everyone.
Drink the whole bottle. The bottle can also be held like this. If the disagreement is particularly hurtful, this is another way to hold the bottle.
Okay, hold on. Let's just stop there. I feel like we're now inciting violence here. It's like crack the bottle, use it as a weapon.
No, nobody said crack the bottle now. That's a northern thing, probably.
Oh, okay. We went there. This is accelerating to levels that we have never seen before. We are not condoning violence. We're just condoning drinking a whiskey to cope with Christmas.
There's a whiskey for every occasion. This is the whiskey of the fighting family. If the family insists on fighting, you might as well support the Irish whiskey industry by buying the fighting whiskey. That's it.
Makes sense.
That's it.
Fair enough.
We're going to say no more about it.
We'll leave it there. Although, be warned, if you do drink a lot, you might just fight everyone anyway.
Now, moving swiftly on from that character who we have no time for. Post-celebration cleanup. That is the next thing we have to focus on. Let's face it, folks. You've had a month of stress, of holiday fatigue, of shopping fatigue, of unexpected guests, of disagreements over a broken bottle of proper 12, and on it goes. Finally, you've had the turkey. It was lovely. It wasn't smoked. You sat down after Christmas dinner and you watched as everybody left the house and ran off to the cinema, because that's the thing in America. You leave the house and you go to the cinema as fast as you possibly can on Christmas Day. In Ireland, we might sit down and watch Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory or something similar. But in any case, you as the head of the household have a bit of cleaning up to do. And at this stage now, I think you deserve a reward. You've worked hard. It's been a long old year. It's been a long Christmas. You have selflessly taken care of everybody else. Now is the time to reach for the top shelf. And now is the time to pour yourself something special. And a drop of Redbreast 27 is the only way you're going to round out your wonderful work that you did for Christmas. And all thoughts and memories of broken green bottles of Proper 12 on the floor and bringing family members to the hospital over disagreements are gone. Now you can have your proper drink of whiskey.
Suddenly, the arguments, the burnt turkey, the tangled lights, seeing your ex in the bar doesn't seem so bad when you've had a drop of Redbreast 27. One of my favourite whiskies. Absolutely knockout. An absolute stellar whiskey.
Sláinte.
It even looks Christmassy. Looks festive with a red bottle. Sláinte.
This is the ultimate Christmas whiskey. Port, a wonderful fortified wine, a wine you might see at a Christmas table around Ireland or the UK as well. A lovely drop of port after dinner. This is a bottle you could keep for years, folks. You could have a little sip of this every year. You could keep this for next decade. Keep it in just a room temperature, away from direct sunlight, closed inside that box. That'll keep forever. And that's a special whiskey. I have one on standby. I don't know when I'm going to open it. I'm a bit slow to open any bottles at the moment because everything behind me is open as well. But it is one of my top 5 whiskeys of all time. And
same.
If you ever get the chance to try it, folks, even just by the measure, it's worth it.
It genuinely left me speechless the first time I tried it. It was just unbelievable. It's just, there are no words to describe it. You just have to try it for yourself. As you say, Barry, if you ever get the opportunity, grab it by the horns.
Tony asks, how do I compare this to Redbreast Ruby Port? Would that be Redbreast Tawny Port maybe? Because this would be the Redbreast Ruby Port, the 27-year-old, and I don't think there's another Redbreast Ruby Port. Completely different. I mean, leagues apart, honestly. Yeah. They don't even compare for me. I wasn't personally a fan of Redbreast Tawny Port. It wasn't as sweet as I wanted a fortified wine finished whiskey to be, but that's the nature of kind of tawny port. It's a different beast than the ruby ports. A ruby would have a lot more of those rich, deep, sweeter, dark fruits, almost like as if you'd sun-dried a plum or even a cranberry. Wonderful notes, a little menthol notes in there as well. Just spectacular. Yeah.
I didn't mind the Redbreast Tawny Port. I feel like I'm in the minority there. But again, I think the Powers John's Lane Cask Strength was released around the same time, and for me, it knocked it out of the park. Personally, thought it was gorgeous. The John's Lane.
I think we have covered all Christmas scenarios. If we haven't, folks, you're smart enough, old enough, big enough to be able to choose the right Irish whiskey to go with the moment that pops up. Just make sure that you've got the good Irish whiskey for yourself, and you've got the rubbish for when the relatives that you don't like appear, or the unexpected guests. Keep the good stuff for yourself, unless you've got nice people, nice friends, nice family who you do want to share the good things with, in which case, no greater joy will you ever have than seeing people smile as they first experience something special. I have great memories of people trying the likes of Redbreast 27, who have I even just a little drip of it, who aren't whiskey drinkers, and seeing their face light up instantly. Not because a firework went off or anything, but just because they were just really just thrilled with the beautiful whiskey. So it's a lovely thing to share good whiskey with good people and people who would appreciate what you're sharing with them. But that's it. Like, we've covered it all. What have we missed?
We have no. I think we've got it all. I feel like you have the journey, the festive journey from sort of late November, early December, and into the day itself. New Year's is another one. We'll come back. We'll do New Year's woes in a few weeks.
we will have another And another thing, segment from Lauren on next week's Shebeen, and maybe it's a
Yeah,
permanent. I think you
yeah.
should come up with a gripe, at least one gripe for every Shebeen going forward.
That's not a bad idea. Pick something from the week that's really annoyed me and cover it. Because
And then,
I feel like all of the people here are on the same wavelength as me, that they would probably agree. So I can do that. I'll pick one.
so the one thing that you're upset with, and the one person you hate that week.
Just air it all out. So this is basically a weekly therapy session for an hour and a half.
I think one idea I have for a Shebeen. So, Lauren, you mentioned that there's 4 Shebeens, including this one, between now and
Yep.
Christmas.
So now 3. Yep.
One topic that I think we should cover between now and Christmas is your hopes and my hopes for the Irish whiskey industry for 2024. So, what would we like to see? What would we like to see
Mm.
happen in the whiskey industry? I've got some thoughts in it. I thought about them today. I had a lovely, nice walk, and I was thinking about all kinds of things, and that popped into my head. Some of the things I'd like to see happen. So, we're going to share that maybe. What other topics would we like to cover between now and Christmas?
That's a good one. We've covered a lot this week. We've covered the essential whiskies, festive woes, festive cocktails. We've done as well. Maybe we do. Maybe the week before Christmas we do a little cocktail making session, and we can share the ingredients ahead of time. And we do that. The last time we did that was when we did the Sexton cocktails in your house after Cork Whiskey
Yeah.
Fest. That was a night.
Could we do that without you appearing in my house again? Like, would there be a way to avoid
Yes,
you turning up on my doorstep like stray children?
yes.
Yeah.
Like a stray
Okay.
cat.
Yeah.
Yes, I feel like we could do that. I feel like we could share. I'll come up with a few really simple festive serves with ingredients that everyone can get their hands on, and we'll make them together maybe the week before Christmas. I think that'll be really nice, actually.
Gift whiskies for Christmas. Gift whiskies, that's a good one as well. Not
Oh
far off what
yeah,
we kind of covered here, but
like,
like different price
yeah,
points, like under $100, under $50,
yeah,
under
or like
$10,000.
gift sets as well, because I think that was actually a question asked in the group in Fans of America.
That's a really tricky one. Oh, because
I
it's
know,
impossible because only certain sets go to certain cities, some go to some states, some aren't available here,
I
there,
know,
and
I know.
it's a minefield.
Yeah, I
I would just
know.
say that in your local liquor store, if you've got any kind of an Irish whiskey selection, the brands will typically have a few sets, like Blackbush do them, Bushmills do them,
Yep.
Jameson does them,
Jameson.
Powers
Yeah.
do them, but not guaranteed. Not guaranteed.
Yeah,
In an
very
unusual
true.
move, Kristen is looking to work in the Irish whiskey industry in 2024. This is news to us. Kristen, you should have said before that you wanted a job in the Irish whiskey industry. We could surely have found you a job by now if you'd only let us know. This is a hope for Kristen in 2024, and we hope it comes true for you as well, Kristen.
The 46 CVs have disappeared. What did you do with them, Barry?
One whole room in my house is covered in Kristen's resumes that have been sent out to the whiskey industry. Good for you, Kristen.
Gifting's a good one. Gifting's not a bad one, but as you said, it is quite tricky. But then again, I feel like there are a lot of whiskies that are kind of crowd pleasers, and everyone is always very happy to receive them as a gift at Christmas. We'll definitely do the cocktail one. I think it's good fun. It's even more fun to watch the pair of us try to make cocktails as well.
I think this would be a great one for you to lead, Lauren, the cocktail making one. Like
Cocktail one,
yeah.
absolutely. I might have to reposition my get up.
We can give you another camera so we can have like a cocktail cam. You could have
Yeah,
two on.
cocktail cam. Yeah, cocktail cam, and then my webcam. Yeah, perfect. But if there's anything else anyone would like to see between now and Christmas, and keeping with the festive theme, sure, let us know.
And we'll do it. Certainly
And we'll
will.
do it. Yeah.
Folks, that is it for our Shebeen tonight. We will be back next week with another Shebeen. I will remind you that for those of you who are Stories and Sips Whiskey Club members, that our W.G. O'Connell bundles are available, individual bottles are available on storiesandsips.com. We will have a tasting early in December with Dahi O'Connell. I'll share the details of that with you. And we'll have more updates for you this coming week of things that are happening towards the end of the year, and also coming up in New Year as well. If you're not a member of the Stories and Sips Whiskey Club, we would love to have you join. It is my great joy in the world to be able to work on bringing new releases exclusively to the club, on introducing you to the people, the places, and the pours of Irish whiskey. It's a fantastic journey. We have hundreds and hundreds of members, and we would like you to be one of them going forward. So just go to storieandsips.com/club, and we'd love to have you join us. Sinead, I think. Sinead.
That was an hour and a half rant for me. Apologies, everyone. I'm sure you can relate to certain things.
I never want to hear a complaint from Lauren again.
I'm not allowed to complain for at least another week. At least another 6 days.
Sláinte, everybody. Have a good night. Sláinte.
Sláinte, folks.
Cheers, Lard.